Welcome back, everybody. Let us talk about the San Diego Padres and let's give them a season preview for the 2020 baseball season that's coming up around the corner. It's coming up pretty soon now. But first, like I do in these, let's start back. How did they do last year? Padres went 70 and 92 last year. They finished last in the NL West. Now, Padres last year arguably had the best bullpen in the National League, at least. They have arguably the best as of right now, left side of the infield of Machado and Tatis for defensive metrics, and they're really pretty much a young team. But I think the goal for the Padres this year is to finish at or above 500. That means they're going to have to make up 22 games on their schedule from last year. They'd have to get 22 more wins. Can they do that? Possibly. Actually, they'd have to win 11 more games for them to be 500. Could that happen? I think so. Do I think they'll finish in a wild card spot? If the talent stays healthy and people improve, maybe. The National League is so hard to decipher of who's going to make the playoffs or not, especially the wild card. But I think Padres have a shot. Usually Padres start off the season well, and then they nosedive right before or right after the All-Star break and just stay nose. They're like the Hindenburg. It starts off great, and then next thing you know, it all goes up in flames, and everybody's yelling, "My God, the humanity!" Like nuke the team from orbit. I think key additions they did get a lot of people, and they got somebody new today. Let's start off with him. They signed Brian Dozier in free agency. I'm surprised Dozier was still, what's it called? A free agent right now. I would have assumed he would have been signed by a team. And Dozier kills lefties. Absolutely. And he hits the ball far. I think he hit, 30? No, I don't know how many homers he had last year. My point being is Dozier hits a lot of dingers. Dozier dingers. And that gives the Padres platoon guy, because they also signed Profar this year, who's a switch hitter. So that might help out with matchup-wise, saying, do we want... Because Profar, I think, is better defensively than Dozier. But Dozier's a lot better hitter than Profar, at least last year. But we got Dozier and Profar out of the way. They also got Emilio Pagan, who was in a trade with the Rays. That helps solidify them as probably the best bullpen in the National League. Pagan was a really good setup man last year in the Tampa Bay Rays. He was really the only rock-steady guy in that bullpen, because you had Castillo and Alvarado, who's decent, but they fluctuated. They weren't consistent. Pagan was consistent, which helps that bullpen a lot. They also got Tommy Pham in that Pagan trade, I believe. Pham, I really like Pham. Nice, he's a 5-tool guy. Not a great 5-tool guy, but a 5-tool guy nonetheless. He can hit for contact. He hits the ball for power. He's got decent speed. He's got decent fielding, and he's got a decent arm. So I really like Pham. He's probably going to play... I would assume he'd play left field on Pham. And like I said, I think he's a good addition to that team. I really like him. They also got Trent Grisham and Zach Davies. I combined those two because that was a trade that they made with the Brewers. That's why they're combined. Grisham, decent left-handed bat, known really, as of right now, really only known because he led a little... of his gaffe in the wild card game against the Nationals that let them lose the game. So I think that's just a mishap. Everybody does it. I think Grisham will be fine. He's a decent batter. And Zach Davies, that gives you another starting rotation arm, which the Padres sorely need. And they also got Drew Pomeranz, who was a free agent. And I think that helps the bullpen even better, because Pomeranz is kind of a fringe starter. He can start. He could be like the sixth guy. But I really see Pomeranz as maybe like a long reliever, maybe a middle relief guy who can come in there and uh, uh, help you get certain guys out, which the three batter rule kind of does away with now. But he could still get lefties and righties out of games, which is a commodity that a left-handed pitcher needs to do, and Tom Raines does it pretty well. Key losses: they lost Hunter Renfroe in that Pham Pagan trade. I I don't mind losing Renfroe and getting Pham. The only thing that I miss in Pham that I don't have in Renfroe is a lot more power, and Renfroe's a lot younger than Pham. Renfroe, I think with Renfroe and Pham, it'll be kind of a who's gonna turn out more. I think Pham probably will. Renfroe might longer down the road, but I think Pham's a more solidified option right now. And I mean, Pham's a lot better fielder than Renfroe. They also lost Ian Kinsler at second base. He retired. He's gonna, from what I heard from a friend, he's taking a job in the front office or in management, so he can get off the last year of his contract through that. Which good for Ian Kinsler. He had a really good career. He just really wasn't that good with the Padres. But he was at the end of his career. He was, 37, 38, 36. So he's up there in age and couldn't perform anymore. And they also lost Luis Urias in that trade for Davies and Grisham. Urias was going to be probably the second baseman, but now that they got Profar and Dozier, Urias was kind of the odd man out at that spot, so they didn't necessarily. He was expendable. They didn't need him. And a guy that was also, because I mentioned everybody else in that Brewers Padres trade, except Eric Lauer. Eric Lauer is pretty much an addition by subtraction. He was not good with the Padres, hasn't been really that good with the Padres, so they let him go. They traded him. They didn't need him. Stuff to look for, I think, is will Myers be traded at some point during the season? Because there's trade rumors swirling around him with that Betts blockbuster trade. Now there's trade rumors swirling around him about still Boston wanting him, but the Padres are wanting to get off that contract. They're really badly trying to get off that contract, and they will get. I think they will get off that contract at some point this season. I think he will be traded at some point this season. I think another thing is, can Tatis play a full season? Last year he played about 80 games, he played about half the season, and then got hurt, and then he was out for the rest of the season. And in that short 80-game span, he was really good. He was NL Rookie of the Year until Pete Alonso started hitting homers 500 feet. But I think watching Tatis play a full season will be really good to watch, especially for Padres fans. I think it'll be entertaining, and he's going to light up the scoreboard. I think, can Manny Machado have a comeback year is another thing to look out for, because Machado had his worst year statistically, at least in batting average, with the Padres last year. He still hit like 38 homers or 33 homers, 110 RBIs. So he's still productive, but he's not as productive as he was with the Orioles or the Dodgers. He just took a step back this year. And Manny last year is getting paid, $330 million as a total salary. He was not earning that contract last year, so we're going to see if he can earn his contract this year. I think who's going to catch this year is another thing, because you got Francisco Mejia, who is a switch hitter, which helps out immensely. Always try to have a switch hitter on your team, because they are a nice commodity to have, and they're kind of rare. But it's between who's going to catch for the Padres, between Mejia and Austin Hedges. I think Mejia has the better bat, no doubt. Kind of lacks defense. Hedges is defense, no bat. He can't really hit that well. So what I wouldn't be surprised is what they did was they start Mejia in most of the games, and then once you start getting to the back nine, the 6, 7, 8, or the 7, 8, 9, throw in Hedges to make sure Mejia doesn't mess up on defense, because Hedges is really good defensively. So I would not be surprised if they start Mejia, because he's more potent on offense. I would and then put in Hedges as like a double shift or a substitution, so he can not make any defensive gaffes in the field. I think last thing to look out for is, can Hosmer somewhat improve this year? Hosmer had a okay year last year. By his standards, now an okay year. Not great, and Padres are paying him to be at least good to great. He was okay last year. And he's still nice defensively, a nice glove to have at first, especially a lefty. Can Hosmer somewhat improve the offense this year? Because if that happens, I mean, that infield is looking really good at that point, and it looks good now. If Hosmer can improve, I mean, like if he can get a 280 batting average with, I don't know, 25 homers and 90 ribbies, that's looking really good. That's a really good season, considering I think last year he bat 265, batted under 270, I think. But my guess for the Padres this year, I don't really know. They'll probably finish. I see them finishing. I could see them finishing fourth, third at best. I could see, because what I'm taking into effect is that second half of the season where the Padres just implode like the Hindenburg. They just blow up. So I'm freaking. I could see the Padres. What am I trying to say? I could see him fourth, maybe fifth, maybe third. It just depends on really the Giants and the Rockies. So I think the Rockies won't be good this year, and I don't think the Giants will be. But it's pretty much a 3-team race for last. It's just who's going to be up by each other by a half a game or a game. The NL West, especially in the cellar, is really hard to tell who's going to be in last or anywhere, third, fourth, or fifth. I think the Padres will be fourth in that division, maybe third at best. But that's the end of the video. If you guys liked it, press the like button. Subscribe down below. It'd be greatly appreciated. Comment down below what you guys think about the Padres. Do you think maybe I'm undercrediting the Padres? Do you think that maybe they're a playoff team with that talent? Do you think they will make the playoffs in the wild card, maybe a first seed, second seed? Do you think if they make the playoffs, they'll advance in the playoffs? Share this video with all your friends and buddies, and I will see you guys in the next video.